and this is Gretchen Kother with Lee County Federated Republican Women. We are here today to interview David Gallegos for the position of New Mexico Senate District 61.
41.
I'm sorry, 41.
Down here. Yeah.
New Mexico Senate District 41. I apologize. And so with that, we'd like to have David, you give us just a little introduction of yourself, please, and then we'll go into the questions.
Well, thank you, ladies. I appreciate the opportunity. So I'm David Gallegos. I live in Eunice. I've been in the House District 61 for 8 years. The qualifications for this position is like I said, I've been in the actual House of Representatives for 8 years. I've actually passed 24 bills in those 8 years. And I think that gives me an opportunity to go in with my eyes wide open. I like the Senate opportunity. It gives you more time to think long term. The other qualification I would say is that I've got the New Mexico Prayer Caucus. I started in 2016. So I've got 34 legislators that meet on a regular basis there at the Capitol for prayer and Bible study. The third thing I guess I would say is I've been in Lee County for 42 years. Originally came from Colorado, but I have an understanding what Lee County is about, the importance of our oil and gas industry and what it does for the rest of the state and now our nation.
All right. Well, thank you so much. So the first question we have for you is, what would your energy policy be for the state of New Mexico?
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. That's a good question. With the current governor we have, it would be really hard to have a like-minded energy policy with her. I would revert back to Governor Martinez. She had a all-the-above energy policy. Currently, the governor that we have is more into the New Green Deal and killing the oil and gas sector. I think what we need to do is look at the value for wind and solar, and they're on the minor side of what our energy policy should be for the state. Both those are being subsidized by you, the taxpayer, through state and federal monies. But the overall policy for the state should be to increase what we do here in Lee and Eddy County by reducing some of the restrictions that we have. You look at it, it is easier. Well, last year in 2019, when one of the senators decided to do an anti-fracking bill, we lost 4 major companies to Texas because Texas welcomes with open arms. New Mexico is more restrictive. Our land, to me, our land commissioner is really, really harsh on what she's going to do as far as permitting for oil and gas. So I think we need to open it up. Part of that is getting a new governor in 2 years because then John Sanchez would be oil and gas favorable. He and I went to China with Greg Nybert in 2018 to try to get sales from Lee County to China. I think with him coming back, we readdress that. We take our oil and natural gas to market through Tijuana and into China and their markets. But I just think for right now, our biggest thing is stopping bad policy.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Our next question is, what would you do to put New Mexico, to put that policy into practice in New Mexico?
I think the biggest thing is to turn the state red, and not only for President Trump. I think it's critical that we look at the way we treat oil and gas. So whether we took just the House or the House and Senate, what that does for us in Santa Fe, right now it's skewed, being in the minority, all the minority can do is try to stop or stall things. But if you had one of the houses or both, then you would have balance of power between the governor and the legislature. So we would need that in order to give us some protections against oil and gas. Like I said earlier, the theory there in Santa Fe is the Green New Deal and not what oil and gas has done for us. So I think going forward, we work with John Sanchez, who's preparing to run for governor in 2 years, to try to see what we can do to solidify him. I like him. Like I say, when we went to China, he did a really good job of explaining why New Mexico should be first on their list, not last. So I think that as we go forward, just them understanding that this state needs to be oil and gas based, and what we do in the next election will dictate a lot of that. The policy wise, I don't see that if we stay the way we are currently, that there's very many things we can do to stop the bleeding to oil and gas. You look at it, the price of oil is in the 24s right now, or 26. Right now, we're about $4 under West Texas crude. And so that puts us back to around $22 a barrel. Our budget is built off of $52 a barrel estimated oil, and that runs our state coffers. So what we need to do is to shore up oil and gas, do what we can, and change this state.
All right. Well, thank you. Question number 3. What would you do to improve New Mexico's education system?
Well, I appreciate it. I've been on the school board in Eunice for 21 years, and I've seen some really sad issues. Right now with COVID-19, there's literally no education, very little going on. I know they're trying, but what I see in long term, being on the school board, is every time there's a governor change, education changes. And I think what we need to do is look at other models where it's not a political football being thrown around, but the education of our students should be primary, not political. And we need to do things for the teachers and students that will not change at the next election. And some of those are, you look at housing for teachers, and I like accountability. The teachers didn't like it in the last go round with Governor Martinez, but I think there needs to be an accountability piece just so that they know that we're watching to make sure they educate our students. With us being 50th in the nation, sometimes we're 49th, depending on what Mississippi is doing. But in all reality, we need to fund our teachers. Right now with the Aussie lawsuit, I think they're doing that. I think I voted against the 6% raise because I think that money should have come to them as a stipend or a bonus, because now with the downfall in oil and gas, some superintendent's going to have to look at a teacher and say, I can no longer afford to employ you. And that's really harsh. That's really hard. But I think that after we get past this, the teacher quality, I had a bill this year that would pay, the governor had that theory she was going to give education to all. This bill would have been giving $6,000 per year for a teacher that stays in state that we would pay for their education. It didn't go anywhere. I had another one that would give them a $2,000 tax credit if they came to rural New Mexico. So that way we could backfill some of the teacher shortages we have out here. I have a real problem with the governor saying education for all, because if they leave our state after being educated here, then they go to Texas or wherever else. Our investment goes with them, and we don't recover any of the value to it. Finally, I would say that we need to get God back in school and let parents realize that it's not a daycare, that they have a process to be involved with so their child can be educated.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you. We have time, Katie? Okay. Okay, we have time for one question, maybe not 2 minutes worth, but very quickly, could you give us, given the current situation with COVID-19, the crisis that we're in right now, what do you think the number one challenge for New Mexico is with that?
Getting back to work. I personally think the governor has overstepped her bounds, closing businesses down. I've had people call, whether it was the alcohol portion that she did yesterday, or even some of the restaurants here in Hobbs. I mean, the mom and pops are the ones that are hurting. I don't know that we recover them. You look at it, we're losing oil and gas, and we're losing people. And don't get me wrong, it's for right reasons that we're being protective. But now we're losing GRT that also funds our state, because we're shutting down businesses. I think most businesses are essential. The day you need them, they're pretty essential to me. But it's just one of those things that I think that we've overstepped on, allowing them to just be totally shut down. I've had a lot of calls on people that are laid off and have still not received their first unemployment check that Governor Lujan Grisham said, give me a week and you'll have it. It's been 3 weeks and they've not been paid. So I think the mom and pops of this state will be hurt, and it'll be really hard to recover that.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate you taking the time to spend with us today and answer our questions. And we look forward to seeing you on the campaign trail. So thanks again. Oh, and go ahead and give your name and your race that you're running in one more time real fast.
Okay. Thank you all for having me. And it's David Gallegos running for the Senate District 41 seat.
Okay. Thanks again.
Thank you.
We appreciate